All right, hey
Okay.
everybody. Hey, hey, you're
Wake
blowing up my
up.
spot, man. All right, so hey everybody, and so in this segment of the program, we're going to talk about a new technique we're going to use called the wake back to bed technique, and you know, throughout the first couple of segments, the first few weeks of the program, you've heard Brian talk about like making attempts in the middle of the night to get in. And this is probably one of the first times where we're really going to start making more formal attempts in the middle of the night to get in. So, and this is the
Right.
first technique that we'll use to do that. So,
Yeah. Oh, you want me to talk now?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so this is, it's a spin on the mnemonic technique that we've been doing, right? So, but like you said, it's just a little bit more formal in that we enhance we enhance the ability for our minds to get into a lucid state by interrupting our normal sleep patterns. And so there's, something, I always called it the whiplash effect, but it's like where you hold something back and it sort of builds up this potential. And then when it's released, it sort of floods through everything, right? So if you hold back a stream and it builds, and when the dam breaks, right, it's all this force goes through. And so with our normal sleep cycles, I mean, they're pretty well documented, right? So it's like every 90 minutes we go through, sort of a, beta, alpha, theta, short amount of delta, and then we bounce into the REM state, which is sort of bouncing between theta and beta, right? So alpha is sort of in the middle. So this is very sort of amorphous territory in there because we need enough consciousness to realize we're dreaming, but at the same time, we need to be in that very relaxed state of theta, which is like a deep trance state, right? So, but we know that happens in segments of 90 minutes, pretty close to that. So in the beginning of the night, when you go through that first 90 minutes, the amount of REM sleep that you get is quite tiny in delta too, right? So it's like there's just only really a few minutes in that first 90 minutes where you're dreaming, or you're in the potential for dreaming. So, and every 90-minute cycle after that, that starts to increase, not just in the delta territory where it's that very restorative sleep where you're in sleep paralysis and your body's able to heal itself, but also in the REM state that starts to increase each 90-minute segment. So what we're doing basically is we're going to sleep, and I'm still doing my normal induction when I do this. I go to sleep with that, and then I set my alarm or set my clock for 4 hours, right? So basically, 90 is 3 hours, 3 hours, 2 segments of sleeping or sleeping, right? And then I get just that first part of the next hour. So I get the hour part of that third cycle, but I wake up before I get into that REM. Now, if you're having a dream, you could be remembering that you did enter that REM state and you did have a dream, and you want to write that down. But you could be remembering, even in that 1 minute or a couple minute segment in that first 90 minutes, you could be remembering it from there. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because you wake up dreaming, it's not a lost cause, right? You're still going to be up for a little bit. What's a little bit? It varies a lot depending on the books. Like some people will say be up for an hour or 2 hours. I don't do that. If I'm up for an hour or 2 hours, I'm up. That's it. For me, I had so many years of not getting enough sleep that for me to spend an hour awake, I'm ready to go to work at that point. So I might be tired, but it's not very likely that I'm going to go back to sleep. So for me, I would say try it like 30 minutes, try 20 minutes. You want to be awake enough that you can prime the pump, but not so awake that you're going to have a hard time getting back to sleep. That's the idea. So for me, it's about 20 minutes. I can push it to 30 if I get involved with something, but you don't want to be too involved, right? It's not like you want to get up and start doing yoga, right? You don't want to get up. I don't do qigong at 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning, right? So it's like I get up, and usually what I do, if I had a dream, I'll write it down in my dream journal. If I don't remember a dream at that point, or I didn't have a dream at that point that I remember, then I'll just review something in my dream journal. I might even just go to a random page in my dream journal and just read through that dream. Before I, even go through that process, I move to a different place, right? I don't just do that in my bed, right? I get up and I go to a different place. I like doing that because it changes the scenery and lets me know I'm in part of a ritual process, more or less, right? It's like, oh, I wake up at this time. It's not my normal time. I might feel a little groggy, but I'm a little excited too, because I'm going to try my, formal attempt at getting into lucidity. So I get up and I'll move, either to the library, or I'll go upstairs in the loft, and, someplace where I'm not going to disturb anybody else is one thing, and where I can just kind of move around and be at my ease and sort of change my locale. And then I do my open focus on the heart, right? So it's like it keeps me in that really nice open state, right? And sort of preps my heart. Well, for my students that have known me for years and years, you'll ask them and they'll be like, "Oh, Brian, talk so much about the heart now. He never did that before. He kind of always slammed that stuff." And it's like, but I'm not doing heart meditation, like opening my heart meditation to the world like a lot of people do, right? It's like I'm using scientific data to prime my induction technique, right? So it's like if I do my open focus on the heart, which means I'm just becoming aware of the physical location of my heart, and I'm just holding my awareness there for a minute or so, and then I'm opening it to the space around my heart in the context of space, like first my field, my sphere of sensation, or then move it out farther, so that it's my sphere of sensation in the context of the room or the universe or whatever. You can put it out as far as you want, as long as you don't fall asleep while you're doing it, right? Because it can be very relaxing. But it just opens up the heart. Remember that the heart has, I think, about 40,000 neurons, right? So there's actual brain cells in your heart. And so I think of this in this way, like when I do that, it's like a backstage pass to the subconscious, right? So it's like everybody's trying to get through the front door, and they're banging on the doors and they can't get in because the conscious mind is saying like, we like it just the way it is. We don't want to change this. So it's like putting up a big resistance. There's lots of guys with big muscles standing in front of the doors and keeping you out, right? But it can't keep out, this feedback loop of mind and heart, brain and heart, this neural feedback loop that goes through there. Like in this way, I can do something like this open focus meditation on my heart, and I stay in that state, just keeping my awareness in that space while I'm writing out my dreams, while I'm reading the passage in my dream journal. Remember, this is all 20 or 30 minutes, no more. Lights are relatively dim. When I do that from that heart-based practice, right, from that state, it's like it's sending this message to the subconscious directly. It's like, again, I'm going in the back, knock, 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 special door knock, right? And then it's like the guy opens the little door and it's just, where's your pass, man? It's like, here you go. See, I got the special backstage pass. And then, and it's like, okay, don't look, okay, you let you in, right? So it's like that information is going in, and so it's going directly into the subconscious if I can be in that state. And so as I'm doing that, and it's like priming the pump again, right? So as I'm doing that and being in that state, it's like I'm sending the messages through my heart because I'm feeling it, right? It's that emotional state, it's the juice, right? Not too much, just the right amount. And sending that message in, saying to my subconscious, in 20 minutes, I'm going to be there. In 20 minutes, I'm going to be there. Be ready for me because I'm going to be there in 20 minutes. Okay. So it's just that little bit of primer, and that can sort of get the excitement up a little bit, right? And so, and whether I'm writing my dreams down in that place, or I'm just reading a page in my dream journal from that state, it puts me in the best possible position, so that when I go back down, if you're going to do it in bed, you go through your induction again, same induction technique, right? Or maybe, like me, usually if I'm going to do that technique, I go to a chair. I have a couple favorite chairs in my house that are recliners that I can get into a comfortable position and do it from there. It's just, that's what I've trained myself to do. And you can do that too. It's no problem. Sometimes it makes for just another good hook, right? So it's like my body knows when I sit in this chair, oh, it's work time, but it's dream work time, right? Or energetic work time, that kind of thing. So, but I'm priming the pump, right? From this open focus meditation, sort of sends that signal in. Now, the other thing you can do, which is a third way of doing it, is if you do have dreams, write them down. That's always that should always be a priority. And if not, then you want to do this induction technique that I came up with a while ago, and I'd forgotten about it until we started doing this again, right? Where it's like it's sort of that projective memory, right? So I'm going to project something out. So I'm just going to take maybe even just a page in my dream journal, right? And I'm going to write out, what I'm going to do in my lucid dream when I get in tonight, right? So I'm just that short one, not some time. Don't put this open-ended time on it. It's like tonight when I really, I do the little thing when I realize I'm dreaming, I'll be lucid and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, or I'm going to be in this place, or, write it out again from that open focus heart place, right? If you can hold those two together at the same time, and just do it, again, not to be too excitable, but just sort of writing it out in an anticipatory way. Like, this is where we're going to go. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to have some fun, blah, blah, blah. And then when you're done with that, then you go back and do your induction technique again, right? The mnemonic induction. So, and the same idea where you're saying it first, the next time I'm dreaming, I'll recognize that I'm dreaming and I'll be lucid, and then relax the head, then the same mnemonic, and then relax the throat and neck, and then the same mnemonic. And so go through your same induction technique again, but with that little bit of, where you've sort of stopped the REM process in that third cycle. It's like it's holding back the dam. Your mind is going to really want to push you into that REM sleep very, very quickly. So it sort of gets you closer to that place right from the beginning, because it's jonesing to get back into the dream state. So if you can keep that mnemonic going, if you can keep yourself in that state, relax the body, and then you'll slide right into that place. It's very likely. I mean, one site says that it's like the percentage of success is something like 2,000% higher that you'll get in with this wake back to bed technique, right? So it is valuable, and it is worth doing. I have used this quite a lot, and so it is a very good technique, and it does really increase your odds in the beginning. So, we should utilize it, and not every night, right? You don't exhaust yourself. Not that 20 minutes of lack of sleep of interrupted sleep will cause you any bad detriment, right? But, I prepare, so like I would say, like, and I'm just saying this on average, like, let's say you're doing the mnemonic technique, the mild, every night. And so, but you work Monday through Friday and you have the weekends off. So Friday night would be the perfect time to do this wake back to bed. And then Saturday night would be the perfect time to do the wake back to bed, right? So that if something snafus and you get too excited, or you have a lucid dream and then you can't go back to sleep, you're not going right into work the next day, right? You might have some time to sort of like, oh, okay, it's not going to be as tense as it normally would be. So that, again, it takes the pressure off you, right? So it's like, we're not at the stage where we're saying, oh, 5 nights a week, you got to do the wake back to bed. And, oh my God, I can't. So no, No, just start it on the nights that you don't have something to do, you know, first thing in the morning, the next morning, or something that's not, you know, so, you know, mentally important, that you have to be fully on. I think you'll be fine anyway. I don't think it would be that big a deal. I mean, it's not like we're having you try it multiple times, right? It's like a once a night, right? Um, and then go from there and see how that works. I mean, you can do it multiple times, right? I mean, that is another technique, right? Of this multiple wake, go back to sleep. And again, in LaBerge's books, he advocates, you know, like 6 hours of sleep and then get up for 2 or 3 hours and then go back to sleep. You go back to bed. I mean, that just doesn't work for me. And because if I'm up for 6 hours, I'm up. You know, if I have 2 hours awake after that, I'm done. I'm awake for the day. So that technique I've tried it, and unless I'm completely exhausted, like days and days of work where I've gotten not as much sleep as I really need, and then I do that technique, that'll work. But normally not so much for me.
Right. But I feel like we could probably vary that on our own, depending on, you know, if we find that we need a little bit more sleep to get into that stage of REM sleep where we're actually having more dreams to increase the amount of chance, or the percentage.
Oh, absolutely.
The likelihood of going into a lucid dream.
Yeah, and I mean, it bears repeating that, you know, we're giving you very specific techniques with time limits and all of these things, but, you know, it's going to become idiosyncratic for you, right? Some of the techniques are going to be real easy. Some are going to be a little more difficult. You might want to push, you know, so 20 minutes maybe isn't enough time, but 45 minutes is, but an hour is too much. You know, you're going to find that border as you get more comfortable with it. When it's not new, when it's fresh, it's sort of hard to figure that out, right? You don't want to vary it too much. You know, you stick with something until you feel like, 20 minutes, I'm just falling right back asleep again. Or, you know, it's not enough time to really get me sort of in that anticipatory zone. But, you know, an hour is too much because now I'm wide awake and I have a really hard time going back to sleep. So, you know, you're going to play with it a bit. I mean, we're going to find out. I mean, mine's changed quite a bit over the years. So it's just at this point, it's about 20 minutes. You know, I could do it in less, but 20 minutes is a nice, comfortable way without rushing to, you know, kind of get into that place. So, yeah.
Nice. Cool. So, and the plan is that we'll be doing that 2 nights a week for the next couple weeks.
Yep.
Nice.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. Well, I think you guys are really going to like this technique, and hopefully it'll really increase the likelihood of having a lucid dream and you know, help us get to that stage where, you know, our goal for this first part of lucid dreaming at least once a week. So
Right.
Hopefully that will really start to increase the chances of having that occurrence. So
yeah, that'll be great, because it's really, then you'll just automatically let go of that idea that, oh, now that I've done it once, I can't do it again. Or, you know, that you're always wondering, was that the last time? And there's that scarcity that kind of comes into it, or that it'll just stop somehow. And it's like, no. This will just give you enough confidence that it's so regular that now, okay, now that we've got it really down once a week, or average of once a week, now we can increase that and make it more and stabilize it more, right? So, but yeah, I think that everybody will be able to get in there and soon. I mean, I don't think it will take much time, you know, from this point on. I mean, now that we're actually starting the inductions, and, you know, keep up with the foundational things like, you know, the burning, and when you can, you know, you want to fit it into your schedule here and there. And, but now we're focused even more so on the actual lucid dreaming part. So
cool. Well, good luck with it, guys. And we'll look forward to hearing how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, man.
Hey, you're welcome.